الحمد لله على إحسانه والشكر له على توفيقه وامتنانه. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له تعظيما لشانه، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الداعي على رضوانه، صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. أما بعد, yesterday we covered many things, and I don't think we have plenty of time between now and Maghrib, but we will see what we can do. If I can just go back what I said yesterday, some of the things I covered yesterday, and clarify a little bit or move forward. Yesterday I give you briefs. How many of you were not here yesterday? If you were not here yesterday, raise your hand. Wow. So many of you were not here yesterday. That means you heard about it and you came. But when we were advertising and we were talking about it, many people thought, jinnis don't exist. But the scary stories yesterday, all over the Facebook and the neighborhood, and everybody told each other, you better come and listen, right? Okay. Anyhow, I'm just joking. I will give you a brief what we covered yesterday. We talked about yesterday Jinn. We said we're going to cover yesterday Jinn, and we're not done with Jinn yet. Tonight we're going to cover sihr, evil eye, Quranic healing, and how you prevent yourself. So we mentioned that jinnis do exist and they are hitting. We also mentioned that Muslims should believe the unseen. Among the things among the obligations about every Muslim is to believe the unseen. So as much as you believe the malaika, and you believe hereafter, and you believe Jannah, and you believe Nar, and you believe many things Allah mentioned in the Quran, in stories you have never heard, what had happened at the time of Moses, and what had happened in the previous, and what should happen. All of that is narrated by Allah Azza wa Jal for you. Some you see by examples, or some you heard of it, and some are coming. So as a belief, we have plenty in the Quran and Sunnah for those. Same way you believe, you should believe jinnis do exist. We also mentioned in the Quran a whole surah Allah named after them. It's called Surah Al-Jinn. We also mentioned that Allah mentioned in the Quran how they can cause divorces. يُفَرِّقُونَ بِهِ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ. We talked about Allah addressed them in the Quran, how they are responsible like you are. They're going to go to hellfire or heaven, same way you go to heaven and hellfire. They are accountable by their actions. We also mentioned yesterday that Prophet ﷺ did da'wah to them. He went to them, he preached them the same way he preached us or the ummah. Same way he preached the humans, he preached them. Prophet ﷺ, he approached them, and whole night was dedicated for them. Well, in the morning, he showed the companions their food and what had happened and their aftermath, where they cooked and what have you. They asked him what to eat. We cover all that. We also mentioned in the Quran, all the time Allah addresses jinnis before the ins, the fact that they were created before us. I also mentioned many ahadith, whether the Sahabi Prophet ﷺ told him, when you are out there, make adhan. Everyone who hears your adhan, regardless whether jinnis or human, they'll testify for you. Authentic hadith. We mentioned Sahih Muslim that Prophet ﷺ mentioned the night that he did da'wah to them. We mentioned Surah Aqab and Surah Al-Jinn Revelation. The food, what to eat, they request from Prophet ﷺ. We cover also Hadith Abu Hurairah, where the jinn came and appeared to him 3 times. 3 different nights. And each time he was begging him, please let me go, please let me go. And every time he let him go, he comes back again. And finally he said, you don't want to see me, you don't want to deal with me, read Ayatul Kursi, you'll never find me. Okay? Or you'll never find us. I talked about the fact that you don't see them. It's not proof that they don't exist. Inability to see jinnis does not mean that they don't exist. They do exist. Plenty of things that are out there that we don't see, but we believe them. Among them, electricity and how it goes, energy and air and sound waves and your own soul, your nafs, and plenty more. Jinn is made out of fire, everyone knows that, or flame. Sasarin kal-fakhar, or many other ayat talks about relating original fire or flame of fire, but all bottom line, Allah created them from fire. But that doesn't mean that they are fire. Right? One person said, how can Allah punish people? How can Allah punish them when they were created from fire? With fire. Question, right? Good question. We have plenty of proof that they're not. They are created from fire, but they're not fire at the moment. You are created from dirt. Are you dirt right now? No, you're blood and flesh. Right? The fact your origin was dirt, but doesn't mean that you're dirt walking right now. Walking around, right? And if Iblis is fire walking around, he wouldn't need to bring fire to burn Prophet ﷺ. While Prophet ﷺ was in Mecca, praying in Kaaba, making prayers, he came bishihab min nar. And Allah Azza wa Jalla protected him. And he ran away. Because he saw, a big dungeon. He fell for it. Right? So he got scared and he ran away. If he was fire, he wouldn't need a fire. If shayateen and jinnis are fire, they would have burned you a long time ago because they go in your veins. They run all day. يجروا مجرى الدم, Prophet ﷺ taught us. إن الشياطين لا يجروا مجرى الدم. Same way they are in your veins. They run inside your veins. Prophet ﷺ also taught us the day that the girl came to eat. The shaitan tried to eat through the boy, he stopped him. He came through the girl, he stopped her. So he said, Wallahi, inna yadahu ma'a yadiha, I swear by Allah, her hand, his hand, and my hand are all in my hand. Well, if there was a fire, he would have burned one. It hurts, right? Or another hadith, he was praying, and he said, I hold him like that, and I can feel the coldness of his tongue. If it wasn't Sulaiman who had those authorities, I would have held him tight. I would have tied him one of the balls of the masjid, one of the pillars of the masjid, and you would have seen him. But I left that because only that power Allah gave to Sulaiman. I don't want to exercise that. If he was fire, he would not hold his cold, he wouldn't feel coldness in his tongue by his hand, by his neck like that. So there's many evidence there, but I'm talking to you questions that can come up. See that this subject is a subject that 2 days nobody can understand. It really needs a whole, like some of the brothers came to me, they said, I wish, one brother told me, I didn't know that you know this much about him. Why you didn't talk about it sessions of different times where you cover all evil eye one day, you cover sihr one day. Why are you rushing through to do all of that? Well, these workshops, I do it all day workshops throughout the United States when I travel every weekend. So every time that I travel, people sign up and they learn from these things and at least tell other people the misunderstanding of it, because either you don't know or you know myths about it. You don't know the truth about it. So this subject is really heavy, and I hope some of you are not scared about it because we're going to go further inshallah. Details of jinn, simple. They were created from fire. They do eat. So they try to eat through people. You see based on that. So next time, you need to say Bismillah when you eat. He can eat through you, or he can usually, children, they eat with them a lot. That's the whole idea of messing with children. They do have offspring, so they do marry each other. Now, jinnis and humans getting married, that's a gray line. Okay? I personally, and everybody I learn from, we don't believe this. There's no way you're going to have a wife nice looking at nighttime and in the morning you're going to find a cat. Stuff like that, it's just too much to accept. There's no enough evidence. Now, I'm not denying that Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah and many highly knowledgeable scholars of the Ummah believe that humans can marry jinnis. Okay? But that's only few. But the Jumhur, concise of the scholars, Madahib, all the Madahib Arba'a, Imam Ahmad, Abu Hanifa, you'll find Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i. None of them believe that humans can marry jinnis. None of them accepted that theory. But few highly knowledgeable scholars, or some of the tabi'een, agreed with this idea where you can marry jinniya. At night she looks different, in the morning she is different. Jinnis are creatures that we don't see them. They're hidden from us. Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّهُ يَرَاكُمْ هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَهُم. They see you from places you don't see them. Jinnis are held accountable for their actions, so they are responsible what they do. They would be punished if they do haram and rewarded if they do good. Among the jinnis, there's Muslims and there are kafirs. وَأَنَّا مِنَّا صَالِحُونَ وَمِنَّا دُونَ ذَلِكَ. We have good ones and we have worse than that, and we have sects. So they do have similar, Sunnis, Shias, all kind of Salafis, all kind of stuff we got. Among the jinnis, we have abilities to change forms. When I say that, people laugh. Usually when I say that, oh yeah, they do have groups. And believe it or not, I did have jinnis that tell me I'm Salafi, and I had another one that tell me I'm Sufi. I did have that. So some people may deny, but boy, we got all the problems, both sides. Jinnis have ability to change forms and have extra strength and skills to do that. Next time you read Surah Saba, and how Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us, يَعْمَلُونَ لَهُ مَا يَشَاءُ مِن مَحَارِيبُ وَتَمَاثِيلُ وَجِفَانٍ كَالْجَوَابِ وَغُدُورِ رَاسِيَاتٍ. Right? They were powerful. They used to be divers and the cookers and bringing far distance stuff and fly up in the winds and all kind of stuff. They do have extra strength than us in terms of working. But they think like a robot. Whatever you tell them, they will do. So they are easy, more obedient than honestly humans. Humans reason. Humans do many things. Humans have capability to come up something. These creatures are creatures that you can control. That's why magicians are able to do by using them. They're able to destroy all people or nature of what have you. Because Allah gave them those abilities, but even though they are powerful, they are weak in that sense. Types of jinnis, so you have those who fly, they got wings. I mentioned yesterday that Surah Al-Jinn talks about them. How they sit on top of each other and how they start to shoot at them. We talked about وَأَنَّا كُنَّا نَقُودُ مِنْهَا مَقَاعِدَ لِلسَّمْعِ. Another type, they take shape of animals. Those are the troublemakers. These are the ones the magicians use. These are the ones that Prophet ﷺ warned us not to kill them. Black dogs, snakes, hayat, stuff like that. These shapes, don't kill them, he said, especially these hayat and snakes. Warn them 3 days, another narration 3 times. You remember the Ghazwat Ahzab, that companion who came back from Ghazwat Ahzab. When he came back, he took permission of the Prophet ﷺ if he can visit home and come back. He took his sword with him, went home. When he arrived home, he saw his wife outside. This is authentic hadith. He found his wife outside, not wearing proper hijab. He got jealous. He told her, what are you doing? And then she said, look what I got. And she showed him that big snake out there. He took the sword and he hit it. They said, we don't know which one of them died. We don't know whether the guy died or the snake died first. Another narration, they even bring his dead body because they couldn't believe. They were telling him, bring him back alive. This is impossible. And Prophet ﷺ said, we can't do that. Another narration, he said, Inna fil Medina. In Medina, we got so much animals who took shape of these shayateen jinnis. Warn them, don't kill them. So Medina only doesn't have that, but there's many places around the world that you'll find that. Okay? Snakes and you can even find, I had experience of animals that are rare in Plano, Texas. I had an animal, that house is possessed, that house has plenty of stuff, that family, we've been through a lot. From being a bedridden people to people who walk. Okay? But we cannot get rid of those voices and things moving from one place to another. When I visited that house, and I had some of the imams with me, and we were doing the treatment and making sure this go away, and alhamdulillah things went away, I had an animal bigger than that cat, smaller than a lion, some figure, they're called pap cat in America, but it was not even pap cat, it was bigger than that. But that animal came out of nowhere, came on the window in a place that you can look, and look at me right eye to eye. Everybody in that house was scared. I myself felt even scared because I never had to this much level where this animal came out of nowhere and just stared at me like that. Regardless what you do on the window, it will never move. I get out, I had my spray water that I read the Quran, I always carry, and I sprayed the water on the top of the grass. These people who were watching, they swear by Allah, they said it disappeared, nothing jumped. Because I saw, when I was spraying the water, nothing jumped, nothing moved. But the people who were looking inside the living area, who looked at that animal, said disappeared. Not jump, nothing. They didn't see anymore. So yes, we can take shape of animal, and that was not that long. It was a month and a half ago. So you don't just, any animal, just go and kill them or push them or chase them. You have to be an adkar reading, and I will quit there to make adhan, and we continue inshallah after the salah. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام وأنت السلام hands together. And the way you do, you don't read Surah An-Nas 3 times and blow it on it, but you read Surah Qul Huwallah first, then you read Masad, then you read Ikhlas, then you read Surah Falaq, then you read Surah An-Nas, then you blow on it, then you touch as much as you can your body, right? You do that 3 times that way. But in the salawat, you just read. Now reading those 3 times each is Fajr, Maghrib, and sleep time, Ayatul Kursi once after every prayer. And in the evening, if you cannot read the whole Adhkar Sabah wal Masa, day and night, don't forget to read Hasbi Allahu alladhi la ilaha illa huwa alayhi tawakkaltu rabbul arshil azim 7 times. Don't forget to read A'udhu bi kalimatillahi tammati min sharri ma khalaq 3 times. Every day in the morning and every day in the evening. The number 1 dua, get to know, Prophet ﷺ taught us, nothing will harm you all day. Is Bismillah alladhi la yadurru ma'a ismi shay' fil ardi wa la fis sama' wa sabil alim. In the morning and in the evening. These are things that I cannot cover, but I have them in. If you cannot get Adhkar Sabah al Masa or you don't read Arabic, that's not an excuse. Got my business card? Send me email. I'll send you 5-minute long, morning and evening. You can listen on your own. Okay? You listen to it in the morning, you listen to it in the evening. If you cannot read anything, at least minimum. Finally, brothers and sisters, we agreed we're going to start 8 o'clock. We did not start. Everybody was telling me, Shaykh, you go too fast. Well, the deal is, there's no other way we can accomplish all of that in 1 hour. So tonight, the Isha will be, with your permission, delayed again, the same way. Those of you who go home and come back, I want you to be aware of that little change. If not, I will cut it wherever we end, and next session only Allah knows what I'm going to do. I'm trying to do this because my days are 52 weeks of the year is already booked. So I'm trying to give this weekend here, and I didn't know the times. Next time we'll do better. We'll do Asr till Isha. Okay? Jazakumullah khair. If not, request it next time, and we will do very slow with stories. But today we're going to skip stories, inshallah. We have pizza after Isha. Some of you will get pizza. So please, I know it is quick, so that's why I said some of you. So if I promise the pizza like last night, it ran out, inshallah. Bismillah. Those brothers who want to have the business card, I'm almost running out. Outside the door, you will see a flyer with my picture. At the bottom, that's where the email is. Please write it down from there. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inshallah, sisters, you can move the barrier when you're ready. We're going to start right away. So we covered Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. Amma ba'd, we cover immediately right away, brothers. Let's get close to each other since the sisters' barrier will be removed. Those of you who pray, come inshallah closer. May Allah bless you. The other type we covered is the ones that take shape of animals. So far, that's where we were, right? So we're going to go a third one. Those are the type of jinnis that move from one place to another. These are the ones that are in your house and my house and everywhere. These are the ones that usually they're looking for food. These are the ones that looking place to stay. These are the ones who stay corners of the houses, up there. Jinnis usually stay empty areas, or if it's crowded, they go corners of the houses. Their shape of houses are circle usually. Circle, like a balloon inside. So they like to go corner where nobody can bother, most of the time. That's why when people that are possessed, they're spaced out looking at somewhere, teasing somewhere, corners all the time. They're looking, because they're controlled that. A lot of times I question in my office, I ask the person something, and they're like, quiet moment, and then they answer. You know that person is being controlled from a distance, right? And a lot of times, when I tell them that, don't look over there, that's when they fall. And then they fall like that. Because I know exactly what's going on. When I start interrupting between them and the control, that's when the jinn becomes exposed by the person and they talk. Okay? So anyhow, they move from one place. I mentioned a story, how they can come through a group of people traveling. They can just join. I mentioned that last night. These are the ones that Prophet ﷺ said, if you say Bismillah when you take your clothes off, he will not love you. These are the ones that Prophet ﷺ taught us, when you take your clothes off, they can love you. ستر ما بين أعين الجن وعورات بني آدم إذا وضع أحدهم ثيابه أن يقول بسم الله. When you eat, you say Bismillah. He will say, I have no place, I have no food to eat. When you enter the house, you say Bismillah. He will say, I have no place to stay. So you can make him homeless and hungry by getting rid of him, right? And I mentioned the fat and the skinny jinni story. The fat, nobody say Bismillah. The skinny, he says, my partner says Bismillah all the time. We will cover the qareen also later, how you partner and mush partner, all that story. Jinnis are these kind, general. Jinnis, amir, rulers, they're moving from one place to another. Arwah, they interact with children. These are the ones that bother children. Witch, shayateen, married, demons, and ifrit. And I told them last night, green eyes and blue, green eyes and red eyes, kind of stuff, whether it's shadow or a dream. These are the symptoms what jinni you're talking about. Why people fear jinnis? They're ignorant. Or myth stories out there. Or they visit the bad people, the Kuhana Urafa. Once you visit those people, you're locked up forever. Failure to recite adhkar. They don't know what to read. They're not protected. That's why they're afraid. Jinni fears humans. They're scared of you. They're scared of you more than you should be scared of them. I told last night, right, I talked to you about it, where they run away. When you're walking, if you have wudu and you read your adhkar, you pass, they know, they feel heat, they run away. They don't want to stay there, even if they belong there. So the fact that you keep saying, people say, oh, my house is possessed by a jinn, you can get rid of them. Why do you allow them? No problem. Why do you even allow them to give them power that they don't deserve. They should move out. So how do you get rid of them? Surah Al-Baqarah. How do you get rid of them? Pray every single spot in the house, so they don't feel that they're there. Reason why jinnis may harm people, again, going to Kahana Urafa, they lock you up forever. Zar circles, and they read in Talasim. Reciting Talasim or innovated words or dhikr of shaitan, Talasim is what the magicians read. This is the language Allah Azza wa Jal taught us in the Quran, زُخْرُفَ الْقَوْلِ غُرُورًا. This is how they communicate. Now let's clarify one thing. How many of you raise your hand that think shaitan is a creature? You know jinnis, you know insis, and you know shaitan. There are three. How many of you think like that in your mind? When you hear shaitan, you hear insan, you hear jinn, you have a third image in your mind. If you have that, raise your hand. So many people, all the time. The way I asked you the question was very blunt today. But usually I ask them in a different way. The point I am making is, shaitan is not a third creature. Shaitan is either human or a jinn. So next time you think about it, when you look at a bad human being, he is shaitan. Okay? And the proof of that, what made jinn, made him shaitan, is his actions. What makes insan a shaitan is their actions. The reason why sahir is shaitan is because he get out of human level. He is shaitan. That's why he's able to communicate with jinnis. A normal person cannot communicate with jinn. No way. We're not talking about someone is possessed and the Shaykh is talking to them through human. We're talking about they don't see, but they're talking to them. Unless one person is shaitan, there is no way you can communicate. Or you are quality of shaitan. So if someone tells you, I had a dinner with shaitan, jinni last night, it doesn't make sense. There's no way you can have a dinner with them. Okay? Or I saw them all the time. Or I see them in the house. They talk to me, they're in the corner. No. You can see shadow. You can be possessed inside someone. But going back, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, every single prophet, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ. Every single prophet, he encountered a jinn or insan. Who is shaitan? So Abu Lahab was shaitan. Abu Jahl was shaitan. Then the friend that tell you, let's go to the movie but not pray, is shaitan. The one who's taking you to the shisha bar and alcohol bars and haram is shaitan. The action is the shaitan. Right? Now how sahir is able to communicate with a jinn is he has to commit that level of shaitan before the jinni comes as a shaitan and talk to him. What they read is a praising. It's called talasim. They say bad things about Allah wa na'udhu billah, Quran, Islam, everything. They make wudu, with their urine. They make some kind of form of najasa that they have to involve. They buy in the Middle East, the most people who buy the Quran, by the way, are not the masajids, are the magicians. Magicians are the most who buy because every single sihr they do, usually they have to make the biggest kufr, which is tear the Quran apart and step on it. Okay? وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ. This is what they do. These talasim form of praising of shaitan, when they do, then the jinn will come and say, "U'murni, tell me what to do." Nowadays, our children are reading and listening same praising of shaitan. Music that are made out of these things. They are calling and praising Lucifer. Lady Gaga has a whole album called Satanic Ritual Songs of Lady Gaga. You can search about them. Okay? Praising of shaitan. She has it bit by bit. She doesn't hide. She swears by Lucifer. These people don't hide. They commit shaitanic acts. They take bath in the blood. In London Hotel, I mentioned last night how in London Hotel the housekeeper became mental because that much blood that she saw. She wears, I mentioned to you last night, beef, dried beef. She had a beef also in a cage. As she said, this is my partner. When they ask her, these people do commit the najasa and the same form of ibadat shayateen. So with their music is format of that. 2,000 words of magic they add every single year into the music world. If I had internet or I had extra time, I would have shown you the people who used to do that. John Todd and others, who were the biggest producers in LA, music albums. All this music that you see, Michael Jackson and others, he used to work for them. This man he was a Mason, but he had no faith. Now he's a Christian. He's exposing them, how they praise Shaitan, how they wait. There is a house I visited in my own eyes in LA. I did a whole workshop about music in Sacramento with Shaykh Sawi and other scholars. And the point only that I shared with them was how music works, how music works nowadays, they control people, and how Shaitan works with music. And that was the subject. So many people came. But before I did that, I personally had to do a research and go. The house that he was talking about, 13 magicians live in that house. Every single musician or actor, they get blessings from them. If they do not bless the CD, it will never sell anywhere in the world. They, as a matter of fact, bring the master key and they say, follow every single track of it around the world. And John Todd says, I swear every single house in America who have those music has Satan. He says that. These people have, a whole park dedicated for that called Satanic Kingdom Park in that area. Satan Kingdom Park. A park known for those guys. Where the hotel next to Hotel America. They're known, these people. Now, the incident that I had was a Muslim person went to mental institution like a Timberland or Greenhouse. And that person in the mental institution, he or she were acting up so powerful that nobody can stop them. Usually the possession of a jinn is the power, you can tell. They are so powerful that 10 people cannot hold that person. So the psychiatrist, being a Catholic, she believes spirits. She said, this person that we cannot hold, that breaking things that are not easy to break, she must be possessed. So the family agreed. But the facility, they have to bring you in front of a mental judge. And the judge has to determine. So I went there as an expert explaining about the world of jinn. A couple of questions among them, do you believe medicine? And working with psychiatrists in my facility, we have on call and on hire. We went through the whole thing. After he clarified that, he asked me, how long do you need? 3 to 7 days, I requested. And the judge agreed. So that person, in 2 days, everything, or 3 days, she was fine. But the first day when I read the Quran, when I was reading, وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ هَمَزَاتِ الشَّيَاطِينِ وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ رَبِّ أَنْ يَحْضُرُونَ, which means, I seek refuge, O Allah, to protect me from shaitan, and to protect me that they come down on me. I told this story before, I have to repeat because people keep asking me the same story. Right? So, the person, the jinni talks and says, tell her well not to call us, not to invite us, not to, invite us down. Because she's praising them. And had iPad, in a park, reading this stuff. Or he. We had different cases of music. Many of them. Where the jinni came down through music, praises of music. Anyhow, so our people are connected nowadays, controlled. Album like Kiss. Those musicians, they don't even hide. Publicly they said in interview, we control people with our music, with our demons. They don't hide that they got demons, and their demons are through their music. They don't hide that. Okay? I mentioned yesterday how Beyonce, she says clearly that when I am on this stage, I am a Sasha Fierce. They ask her, why are you wild? She said, on the stage I'm wild because I'm Sasha Fierce. In person she's Beyonce. Who is this Sasha Fierce? Fine, they're nobody. Okay? These people do not hide that they are shayateen or they work with shayateen. So people, they harm you because you call them, you invite them. When I was in Somalia, there is a music. It's called Sarke Bulale Sarke. People used to sing. And when they read, it's about Zar. When they read that music, people go wild. Crazy, you can tell. It's on YouTube. And people will fall. We're talking about 1983, that music. Nothing new. Okay? People, in the history of music, the statement of it was like a share, that the instrument and the music never been connected ever in the history. Only in holidays, Eids, or Ayam al-Farah, weddings, people used to connect between the two. But people never connected between. Nowadays, it's not about even anymore the words. It's about the instruments and what they order. I share with you clearly how Fort Worth, Texas, that music says when you kill people, you skin them off, take the skin off. Fort Worth, Texas, they skin the little girl off. In Jonesboro, they put the ghost picture, and they put Lucifer picture, and they put the Masonic signs, and they cut the person pieces. It was a worship that they do. And there's many musicians like Thug and others, they sing those kind of stuff. The psychiatrists in America, the last annual conference, they declared that we need to know and watch what people listen. They don't care about medicine anymore. They evaluate what kind of music do you listen. So this is a phenomenon out there. And Muslims are leaving the Quran, listening to this. You ask, why are you into music? Why are you into haram? Shaykh, I'm in stress. What takes your stress away? Allah says in the Quran, أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. What happened? You want calmness? You want happiness? Yeah, seek it from the Quran. The one who creates your heart. If not, He can come between in your heart. وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهِ يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ. Jinn foolishly harming human being, so they can harm you also. But if you're not protected, if you're protected, it is as if you have fists. So a car protects you. We have people that they touch, but they couldn't go through. Okay? We have people that had strokes, what we call today sunstroke, and a couple of days after we treat, no more strokes. And no evidence they even had a stroke. Right? Falling in love with a human. Yes. How do you know someone has symptoms of love? Jinn, plenty. He likes to be alone. He doesn't want to mix with people. Okay? He wants to stay and live alone. One of the things that they do, they like to wear shorts if he's man, or the girl, she will wear not that much clothes when they're home. They try to be as naked as they could, or sleep naked, that's what they prefer. And sunnah, actually is the other way around. It tells you not to sleep. Okay? People get used to that. Right? This is how they come. And then the symptoms of it, pornography and marriage, I just had about 2 weeks ago, Shaykh, I get along with my dad because he wants me to get married, but I don't want to marry. So I said, what is the benefits of getting married? And the person counts every single benefit of marriage. But I said, why would you not want that? And she said, no, it's not about that, Shaykh. I want it, but it's not inside me. You want me to just go and get married because my dad said so? You see? But then I ask every single question. I'm not going to go detail. If you want it, it's online. And if you want to know more about all the symptoms, they're in the book. You can get the book and the kit. But you go through and ask, do you feel like someone is chasing you? Do you feel like someone is calling your name? Yes. Sisters will feel someone is sitting next to them. Even if they're married, the marriage will not last. A lot of times people think sihr. Well, it's not sihr. If you marry someone who was in love with Jinn, she will act like she has separation sihr. And the sihr and the Jinn symptoms and all these things, they are as hard to find, to separate between the two, as cold and flu and allergies with the doctors. He has to ask you, do you have running nose? What kind of mucus do you have? All these questions doctors ask. Dry cough. You release when you cough. Same way, I have to go through questions and ask you to determine whether it's sihr or it's actually love Jinn. Right? So there's plenty and plenty love. How the love Jinn starts, bottom line. Lonely living, you don't want to get married, it will get to that level. There will also be a person who is not saying Bismillah when they take the clothes off based on the hadith. And bottom line, it's easy to treat. But if it gets bad, it's so bad that every 3 months or 2 months, we do have case of rape. Okay? People live testimonials that they get raped. And they don't know who is doing this to them live. Every time they try to sleep, they cannot sleep. No doctor can figure that out. And wallahi by the Lord that created me, forget that an adult. But we have that in a video. And, because I cannot release confidentiality, and the family themselves have that in video. An American doctor in Irving, Texas, sent them to me because as a neurologist, he cannot figure out how would a 6-year-old child can get raped. 6-year-old girl, how can she get raped? And we're talking physical actions on a 6-year-old girl that you don't see, but she's screaming, and they record in their house, And live, when I read the Quran, it happened in front of me. Okay? In that case, I'll be honest with you, it's the only case that I told him there's nothing I can do. Because I have never had a child that to happen to. And the neurologist himself said there's no medicine at all in Taylor, Texas. There's nothing in medicine that I can say this can happen. Nothing in medicine. So find something else that you guys believe. And he said, I'm a Christian. I do believe demons. There's nothing else I can tell you. Okay? So scary stuff. Read Quran all the time. It can happen. And I ask Allah not to test you with that. Jinn punishing human. We talked about why don't you read your adhkar and what have you. They can love vice versa. You can put hot water, be careful, falling higher places into the rivers and the sea. We do that a lot. How jinn enters the body? Through air. They can enter that. So that's how they enter the body. And many ayat in the Quran talks about it. Usually they go straight to the brain. But there's different kind of possessions. Symptoms of a jinn possessions. When you're awake, you don't want to pray. You don't want to do adhkar. Quran bothers you. You turn the Quran on. When you're awake, the people fall asleep right away. Because that's how they take over the body. Like this they sleep. Erratic behavior in words, deeds and movements. How many times you have seen someone talking to you, telling you something and you ask, husband and wife, possessions, what happens, the husband says, I didn't do that. I didn't say that. I did not divorce her. No, you said divorce. You didn't. I did not say that. How many times you hear that? When they get so angry with the shaitan, Prophet ﷺ taught us, oh, I divorced. No, you didn't divorce. Shaykh, wallah, I don't remember doing that. Or they say things to you and you're like, is this person really saying that? And later on they deny. Okay? Erratic behaviors. Epilepsy, no medical cause. Seizures. We had about 2 cases so far. Adult and a kid, both cured. One in Duncanville and one somewhere else. Paralysis of limb, one side. We had that. In a wheelchair, no more though. No more wheelchair. We will talk about that. Quick, getting angry or crying no reason. Distractedness, spaced out. How do you know? We're not talking about someone who's so much stressed and thinking a lot. We're talking someone that you're sitting next to him and he goes to different world and you just touch, they do that. You're just next to them. It's not that you make him scared or you just came out of nowhere. You are sitting next to him. You tell him, where are you? He'll do that. This is changing shifts. No doctors can tell you these things, Even I had a psychiatrist in Arlington that agreed. He said that part there is no psychiatric onto it, Constant headache. When they disagree with me, I tell them, okay, tell me in medicine, what do you call that? How can someone you're sitting next to him can change different person and feel like he was not there? Why would he feel like he's not there? They have no medicine evidence on that. Okay? Constant headaches. We're not talking about headaches medicine caused because you didn't sleep. We're talking constant headaches, migraines that no medicine can prove. Laziness. Pain and laziness to a level you don't want to pray, but you can do everything else. Pain in one part or one organ, no medical cause. One place hot, another place cold next to each other. Same feet, one cold, one hot. Or one is numb and is not numb tomorrow, the other one is numb. Pain that moves from one place to another place. Irregular menses for women. Prophet ﷺ taught us istihada and how shaitan kicked those veins. So that has plenty of evidence. And not having children. We were successful to have actually 9 cases so far. Since 2009. 9 people had children through this treatment. Frightening nightmares. Insomnia when you're sleeping. Anxiety which makes waking up certain times of the night. We're not talking wake up because you want to go to the bathroom, urine. No. We're talking about something wakes you at exact same time. We'll talk about it, how sihr gets activated. Grinding your teeth, morning. Grinding one's teeth while sleeping. Kids do that. Sleepwalking. You see certain scary nightmare dreams and they keep coming back, that same form dreams. Laughing and crying and screaming in dreams where someone can laugh and cry at the same time also. seeing oneself in a dream, falling from high places, or always in a loop, in a dungeon, in trouble, same exact, keep repeating. You can't have the same dream all the time. Sleepwalking, we talked about. Seeing people with strange features, completely black, or they change, or the body is human but the head is different. Okay? Sign of jinni possessions. Example, signs, light coming on and off. These are things that we know. Piano, for instance. I had that in Allah, in Plano, but in Allah, we watched, 2 weeks ago, I saw the piano, white color in the house, going on and off. Music, device playing by themselves. Those, helicopters kids have, or those motor cars, at night, remotes off, everything off, but yet they're able to play on their own. That when it gets to that level, remember, these jinnis are in an attack level. They're trying to show you we're there. You can't hide. Okay? If you get stuff like that, remember it's not an easy business. Okay? It can happen in shadow, or it can happen this, but once they get to a level where they can move stuff, jinni possession is there. And they're not one or two, they're a whole gang. There. Small motorized toys, objects, moving like planes, boats. I just covered that. Simple things. Blood in the house, or dots in the house that they don't end. Or dead animals. One day bird, another day another animal, but dead. And it continues happening. When I removed that day, I remember the neighborhood dog will not shut till the neighbor took the dog to the doctor. The neighbor dog will not shut for 24 hours till the neighbor decide, we can't stop this dog, we need to take it to the doctor. So, and that neighborhood, the white lady next door is the lady that they're having problem with. So someone is placing these things by the order, but they got cameras because court is going on. There is no proof in the world and the camera is showing someone bringing that stuff. But that stuff is there. Okay? So very scary how these things come. The only thing you can see is animal coming down, pieces. Birds cut, just come in that area. And if something fall, it should fall all around. It fall in that spot. So it's scary. That's all what the camera shows. So scary, but if that's magic involved, usually the blood and all these things, the dead animals cut, these are when jinnis deliver. Now, how do jinnis deliver stuff? Very scary. In Maine, Somali Shaykh known in Minneapolis, not mentioning any name. We were in his house, we're treating his wife, because his ex-wife is doing a lot of magic from Canada. Now, when we finish the treatment and we get rid of the jinn and we're done, that day, battal al-sihr, everything fine. We went outside. A girl that dressed very bad came and she said, can I use your bathroom quick? So, I am not the owner of the house. I said, this is the guy. So the sheikh said, no, you cannot use my bathroom. There's a gas station over there, use that. She said, can I borrow $10? I'll give it to you. He said, don't give me back anything, just go away. Well, she insisted. He gave her $10. And he said, go to the gas station, across the street, whatever you want, leave me alone. She does not want to go, even he gave her $10. So I involved, I said, listen, we do not want to talk to you, we don't want you to use our house, get out. So I was dressed, Imam al-Khamis, somehow she felt threat. She wouldn't listen to him. To me, that's what I thought. But later on, I know why that lady took off, because she told us later on. But that moment, since I dressed that way, I told her, we do not want you here, we don't have time, you gotta go. She took off and left. So she went away. The next day, the story came up, so that's almost before I left the flight, I came to read the Quran. The same tone of the jinn I get rid of yesterday, and we had. And they're like, you break everything, you kill us, we're out, we're not going to come back. But I promise you, they will renew the sihr, they will send another one even. I said, well, too late. Whatever you gave her to feed, we get rid of it. We have the proofs that that's sihr batal. And if I catch another jinn in here, you're not going to come. She said, we will deliver. We attempt to deliver yesterday. I said, how? She said, I came to you yesterday and I asked you $10. I asked you to enter the bathroom. Didn't I? I said, you did? I'm talking to the Muslim sister with hijab. The wife from Somalia. I'm talking to her, right? I said, you came yesterday like that? She said, no, I'm the jinn that came yesterday. How? The white girl. And she's telling you the story. This is first time in my life that a jinn can come in a person. That it happened to me personally. That I'm discussing this. In that. I really felt scared. You know, if you have stuff like that, you don't even trust people, believe me. Next time someone talks to you, you wonder, are they really human or not? If something like that happens to you, it's very scary. Finally, everything battal. We had to end it. And sad, we had to end it because there's no way we could get rid of that sihr till he had to divorce that lady. So that Shaykh got divorced, he married another woman, unknown story, everyone knows in the community. But the point I am making is, they can appear also. They can appear and deliver things like that. Unexplained noises. Houses we talked about. Whole body possessions or masal arid, half of the body. These are details you don't want to know. If someone is possessed, we will deal with that. Constant possessions of the body. Temporary possessions. Outside possessions where they can control words. They can make them scared. Okay? Where you tell the jinn to get out and he can't get out. I'd rather die through you than dying with that guy. What guy? The guy outside. So they're afraid someone outside the guy. Usually sihr. Prophets and how they appear takes time. But you can read that in the book. Who is shaitan? We covered that. The beginning of shaitan, you all know. Objects. What is the purpose of shaitan? لَأَتِيَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ وَعَنْ أَيْمَانِهِمْ وَعَنْ شَمَائِلِهِمْ. So you don't find anybody who's grateful. The whole thing he do, shaitan, is to distract you. So he whisper to you, not have authority over you. So jinnis and shaitan has no authority over you. إِنَّ عِبَادِي لَيْسَ لَكَ عَلَيْهِمْ سُلْطَانٌ. The only time they have authority is if you give them the authority. How? By being disobedient to God. And that's when they enter the body. But if you are obedient to God, even if they did sihr, I'm not saying sihr cannot happen. It can happen. But it will not be as powerful as a person who don't pray and a person who drink. The place of shaitan in man. Okay? In the body we talked about and how they run and all that. And how they control your thoughts and all that. Shaitan entries when? Ignorant, anger, love, music, lusting, hope, greed, all of that. Kibr. And many, many more. We're going to go into sihr. What is sihr? Witchcraft. Meaning of sihr. Anything that causes to change the reality. Appear to you in a form of not real. Okay? How do they do the sihr? In knots. They prefer that. Whether they do that in food or physical knots. They can add to food something you don't see. You know, usually they use powder stuff. Okay, white powder, tasteless. They use that. Okay, but all of these are najasa format. They will never use clean powder. They will use a bit of blood or a bit of urine is in there. Everything is najasa. Okay. Evidence of the Quran and Sunnah, sihr, plenty. Surah Al-Baqarah we talked about. Surah Yunus, in Allah sayubtul, and many other ayat. Musa, Allah talks about it. In Surah Falaq, وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. Protect me from the one that, you know, blows on these nuts when they magic. Okay? Sihr. Proofs of Sunnah. Prophet ﷺ is the number one proof they did sihr to him. Okay? They do sihr to Rasulullah ﷺ. He was laying down. Jibreel and another angel came down. What happened to this man? Saharu, they did sihr. Who did the sihr to him? Lubayd ibn A'sam did the sihr to him. Where's the sihr? Be'er Wardan. Water well of Wardan. How did he do the sihr? Mishti wa mishar. Hair and dough and all that. He made the figure of the Prophet ﷺ, put needle between that head and all that stuff. Known. Okay? And we know all of these details. And what is the cure? Surah Al-Nas and Falaq, Revelation. Because of that. Read after me. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. When he read قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ, he was relieved every ayah. 11 ayah together, 11 knots open. When they went to the water well of Wardan, and Ali bin Abi Talib and the other companion went there, they found the whole water well blood. You can find this story in Bukhari, Fath al-Bari, these are the numbers. Okay? So sihr can happen. You cannot deny. What kind of types of sihr? Separation between husband and wife. Or separation between two businessmen. Al-mahabba, love sihr. How that love sihr happens? Same way separation sihr can happen, love sihr can happen. You're stuck with that person, you don't know why. We'll cover that. Usually they give it to you in perfumes. Sihr al-takhil, false appearance objects. I had a case recently that from Massachusetts, Boston, less than a month and a half, where the person feels like a person, big person becomes small, and they come through the food, or they see objects weird. No doctor could fix that person. He almost don't want to eat. He had a tube, because every time he eats, he sees something else. وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ. Okay? سِحْرُ التَّخِيلِ, سِحْرُ الْجُنُونِ, سِحْرُ الْخُمُولِ, سِحْرُ الْمَرَض, nazif. Each one of them and how they are and the symptoms, they are in the book. I don't have time to explain all of them. But impotence, sexual weaknesses, it happens, all of that. In true case, subhanallah, it's not going to be a good story to share, but true story, husband had 2 wives. Okay? He has all the energy in the world for this woman, but none for that. So one maid lock up the other one. Every time he goes that house, no feeling. Every time he comes here, everything okay. It happened. And it happened in Arlington, Texas. And many places I had seen in my experience. Magic spell for dividing between husband and wife. Getting irritated and angry for no reason. 2 different personalities. Right the moment he enters that house, he changes to evil. He doesn't want to see her. Or she changes it. Okay? I love you because I hate you. Argument for no reason. You look at your wife and you feel like this is the first time you met that person. Am I married to this person? Both sides. One person feels like you basically look at the person, you don't want to even be around them, and you don't know why. Okay? Intimacy affected and what have you. Falling in love with a particular person, thinking and talking about him, obsessive way, cannot hear anything bad about him. Listen to the person, blindly in love. You're attracted to them. They're not really that good, but you're stuck with them. One day you woke up and you feel like you're stuck. Right? That happens a lot with a marriage. Young people, especially in this country. They cannot get the girl. TCC and UTA, both cases I had at University of Dallas. Both went to the witch. Both of them, one hacked the girl, and 2 of them were perfumes. So be careful. If the guy cannot get you and they give you perfumes, don't just take the perfume from them. Okay? They can hack you, they can touch you, it gets activated, we'll come to that. Usually, you'll be stuck with that person. And you get divorced because if that's sihr, if they don't continue paying, one day you will feel like, what is it? What am I married to? And everyone tells you, this is not the right person. You don't want to hear that. They run away from one nationality to another. Police involved, and many, plenty. Magic spell for making person sick. Physicians don't know why. Organs are falling apart. Continue falling from one sickness to another. Type of sickness situation getting worse. Prescription don't work. One doctor, Muslim doctor, always refers the client, psychiatrist. The only time he refers them is if he gives them the highest dose of sleep aid and they cannot sleep, and he's a Muslim, he sends to me. Because he says, there's no way in the world I give that much of sleep aid that person and he will never sleep. There's no way. Medically impossible. Next to it is in a hospital and they give you through vein. So he says that kind of dose for a person who never had insomnia, to have all of a sudden this much insomnia, where they cannot close their eyes. It is something to check. Magic from one person, crazy. Person will hallucinate. Extreme. Either laughs over small matters or become extremely depressed over small things. Right? They call that mood swings. But crazy mood swings. Looks at the mirror and feels like different. Behavior become abnormal. Obsessive behavior. Negativity all the time. Nothing is positive. Self-esteem low. You feel you're not you. Causing financial losses in the world. They call that bad luck. There's no bad luck, but it looks like bad luck. One customer, loyal. Two businessmen. One is yes sir. He doesn't ask anything. Did you write that, are we losing? No, yes sir. You want to give the yes sir. One is loyal and the other is not. One person runs the show. Spell for prevention, marriage. These are the items of sihr you see in the picture. Some of them I have them in life. Okay? But usually these things, you see that? These things, they made with something look like a dough, but it's not dough. But these things are najas. They're not clean and pure. If it's like this. When you cut them, it stinks. Okay? And they will tell you there's Quran in there. Some of them will tell you it's called tahfiz wiri. But it's not a tahfiz. It was sihr, and we break it and we saw it. Folded papers in many other ways. Okay? Medals. Okay? These things were love. She couldn't get, the doctor was a doctor lady, couldn't get the guy. So was told this way that if you wear that, he will come to you like this. What is in there? Quran. There is no Quran, brother. Can you read the numbers? Can you see anything Quran there? Any one of you know those languages? Nobody, right? Next time there is tahfiz, and they tell you not to open, see me. There's a perfume that was told. It's a Kaaba, right? Looks like Kaaba. But that people pay their lifetime. Serious stuff. Scary. So, when was the last time the sihr got activated when I asked? After the Kaaba. Where is it? Your room. My room, there's nothing there. Went to the house, they found it. There. And they laugh at it actually. When he came carrying, he said, you think we'll lie? They talk like that. You think we'll lie? He said, I remember that statement. Right? How did they activate it? They give this after Kaaba, the sisters of the husband, they want to divorce. They give it to him from Jordan and they told him, put this on. Right? So every time he puts on, he's running away from the house. Or the lady's running away from the house. Somebody have to get out of the house. You smell different. I don't want you to be around me. Get away from me. Mood change, he took off. Okay? Nothing wrong. It smells great. Numbers. All the time. All the time. We have numbers. Here they are. Okay? You add up, you will never find ayah in the Quran with these numbers. What does this stand? We don't know what. Sihr. Hangable items. We believe these things, right? They bring luck. How many of you know that? How many people know this blue eye? There's restaurants in this metroplex that has those all over. You'll find that. Every corner of the restaurant, you ask. And I asked the waitress, what is this? I'll tell you, it brings more rizq, brother. Allah brings the rizq. At the door they have them everywhere. How sihr gets activated? By the way, so I met, this is a true story, I met a guy in Maryland, in Iswa Masjid. Brother Habib, very nice guy. He is originally Lebanese, but also Sierra Leone. I said, how can you be Lebanese and Sierra Leone at the same time? So he told me true story, how he was born and what happened. His grandfather or great-grandfather, I don't know, one of them, ran away from Ottoman Empire because he does not want to be a soldier for him. So he went somewhere in Latino countries. And those Latino countries, they will change your name and they will add Carlos with your Arabic name. And his father, great-grandfather, does not want to have a Carlos behind his name either. So he took a boat that was taking slaves back when America returned the slaves. Somehow those boats, he ended up in that area, Sierra Leone. And he said, while we're waiting, and I'm just going from one country to find where to live in my life, he had misbaha, tasbih thing. But all of them had blue eyes. So Africa, people believe these things a lot. So people became in line. So he said the first misbaha, he took it off, he sold it to them. Good money, so he doubled the second one. He had 100 of those, right? So he made money, said, these people like this thing. He went back to the boat, got him a lot of that. He became the biggest millionaire in that region. He was even the president in the 1940s. I have a text. You can do research on him, the family. A very story. He gave me that story that such that when you look online, you will know who his father is because they run the country for a long time. Yeah. His grandma is African Prime Minister of Sierra Leone, Milton Margai. And his younger brother, Albert Margai, became later. His brother became Prime Minister. Grandfather was Haji Yusuf Yaqub. The Prime Minister's sister, she became Muslim because the Prime Minister wanted her to marry. He said, the only I will marry your sister is for her to become Muslim. He made her a Muslim. And that's how he is. His mother is a Muslim. And the whole family story. This is known family. How did that man become richest in Africa? Those blue things. That's the quickest money you can make, right? And his story is written and published, but I feel like to share with you because a lot of people believe that. And Rasulullah taught us a lot. Rasulullah taught us, if you hang something, or if you wear something, and you believe that protects, or gives you benefit, Allah will say, مَنْ عَلَّقَ شَيْئًا وُكِّلَ إِلَيْهِ. Whosoever hangs something, or puts something in his body, he believes it protects him, Allah says, let that protect you. Let that become your protector, not me. Another hadith he took from his body, and he said to him, these things we're talking about, that people wear. He said, these things does not protect you, but it harms you. Another hadith he said, whosoever go to these people to get these things, or believe what they tell him, who harms him and all that stuff, going to them 40 days your prayer is not accepted. Taking these things they give it to you and believing in them, you disbelieve bima unzila ala Muhammad. That means you commit shirk against everything Allah revealed on Muhammad. That means you're not Muslim. No, believe in them. How many Muslims do you know that have these things in a gold chain? Gold chain. I had a case of a brother, Shaykh Yasser purchase involved. We could not take those gold things off at all. There's no way you can explain. But something bad must happen that made him take that thing off. Because he brings his family and he wants all the treatment. Long story short, on his way home, he took his shoes off. All the socks, 1 foot on the right side is gone. And the other socks is okay. So, the person who was possessed looked at him, and in a voice that's woman, but they said in English, they speak different language usually, she doesn't even know good English. They said, you take us back to that guy, you will lose all your feet. You take us back to that guy, now your socks is missing. You're going to lose all your feet. He became praying more and more, fearing Allah. Now he wants to take the chains and all these things he was hanging. So people are not praying, are not fasting, are not fearing Allah Azza wa Jalla, are not coming to the masajid, not reading Quran, nothing. Something bad happens to them, they want Allah to be their side, Quran to be healing, and you tell them these things are shirk. And when we open and show him what was in there, he was shocked. So these things, brothers, we must be very careful. Very careful. How did sihr gets activated? How can they activate sihr to you? Through food. Usually they like chooses. How do you know through food? This is your food, this is my food. Organized crime. Right? You eat this, and we eat this. Right? A lot of times I hear, my mother-in-law doesn't like me, and she always forced me, with food, and every time I eat, we have fight, and all that stuff. By the way, the number one problem of the ummah is mother-in-laws and in-laws. The number one problem is in-laws. Who did this to you? In-laws. My mother-in-law, sister-in-law, uncle-in-law. Some in-law is causing the problem. Somewhere. Right? And then we want to unite the whole Muslim ummah. Fix your in-laws first, you know. I always say that. Fix the in-laws, everything else will be perfect. Because if we family were united, and we trust each other, we wouldn't have ummah problem. But everything starts these in-laws and distrust that are out there. So food, I'm not saying mother-in-laws make sihr. Don't take this as understanding. But if you have problem, family problem, and everybody's not eating the same thing, but they're giving you something special for you, that is something to be alert. Okay? Drinks included. Perfumes. Love sihr especially. Okay? Sister is going through question sheets, she said. So fill up those questionnaires, we can answer after the salah. Okay? Inshallah. Perfumes love sihr a lot. Or hack through a perfume. Hang on a tree. Yeah. It just happened in my house. Okay? So forget anywhere else. It even happened to me that I found out immediately and this took it out. So evil people are out there. Right? Especially when I treat people a lot, I will deal with problems. Bury in the ground. They put things buried in the ground. In a backyard. We find out. Place under the bed or under carpet. We had that love sihr. We have the sihr, by the way, we broke it here. This person, a client, true case where this lady was married, well family, lawyers both sides of the family. She got divorced. No way. She doesn't want to take house, children, wealth, nothing. Ran away. And then there's another Muslimah who's wearing hijab, who's fine. Everybody thinks she's religious. She controls her so much. And it developed relationships so bad where they wax each other. And I don't want to go details of it. Haram, 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 haram. Became cocoa in a hospital. Then traveled all the way to Dallas to treat. Right now, on that particular case, based on the questionnaire, I immediately realized what had happened. Separation sihr, love sihr, how it happened, details. And when I was reading the Quran, I was able to know it was a Jew jinn. They told it is Jew and they speak Hebrew. They don't want to speak English. One or two of them want to talk. The other guy want to say, learn Hebrew. I'll talk to you in Hebrew. No way I'll talk to you. So anyway, find out where the sihr is, under the bed. So we told the mother, you need to go check this under the bed or under the symptoms shows these things. They don't want to say where the sihr is.